You're about to watch the part 2 of the history of presidential elections in Ghana. Kindly do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel Kente Business Journal TV and click on the notification bell to stay updated. Enjoy. In 1996, Ghana was able to follow its constitution for the very first time with regards to having a terminal election. In 1996, the first term of Jerry John Rawlings had come to an end and the nation had to return to the polls. Jerry John Rawlings' NDC had fallen out with the Vice President Kor Nkensen-Aka of the NCP because of a brawl between the President and his Vice President. Kor Nkensen-Aka decided to trade ways and went in to support the NPP's new presidential candidate John Agyekum Kufuor and went into a coalition to form the Great Alliance. He became Kufuor's running mate for the 1996 election. Talk about a businessman, Kor Nkensen-Aka. So the NDC formed another alliance with the DPP and the party known as Every Ghanaian Living Everywhere, EGLE, to form the Progressive Alliance to go into the 1996 election. In 1996, the elections was held on the 7th of December, and the NPP for the first time contested in the parliamentary election, one which they boycotted in 1992. The election results of 1996 are as follows. In 1996, there was a total of 9.2 million registered voters, with 78.31% turning up to vote. Jerry John Rawlings of the Progressive Alliance, made up of NDC, EGLE and DPP, had 4,099,758 votes, representing 57.37%. John Agyekum Kufuor of the Great Alliance, made up of the NPP and the NCP, got 2,834,878 votes, representing 39.67%. While Edward Mahama of the PNC got 211,136 votes, representing 2.95% of the vote. Jerry John Rawlings won a second term in office. In the year 2000, it was the turn of the millennia, and the world was experiencing a fast technological advancement with information technology leading the pack. Ghana was at a crossroad, and for the first time in its history, there was going to be a new president which was going to take over from another president. Jerry John Rawlings had completed his 2 terms of office and was no longer eligible to run for office. His party, the NDC, had picked his running mate for the previous election, Professor John Evans Atta Mills, as the presidential candidate for the NDC going into the 2000 election. The NPP stood with John Agyekum Kufuor, and he was leading them into the 2000 election. The NDC were looking to continue the dominance of the political field, but at this point, the popularity of the NPP has grown as much as that of the NDC, and the two parties eventually morphed the political scene in Ghana into a 2-party system. The NDC and the NPP did not need any alliances at this point and were ready to face each other. So on the 7th of December 2000, the elections were held, but there was no clear winner, so we had to head into a runoff between NDC and the NPP. The results for the first round are as follows. John Agyekum Kufuor of the New Patriotic Party in the first round had 3,131,729 votes, representing 48.17% of the vote. John Evans Atta Mills of the NDC had 2,895,575 votes, representing 44.54%, while all the others together had a total amount of 473,556 votes, representing 7.29%. In the second round, John Agyekum Kufuor's NPP was able to turn over the election and won it by 56.90%, which was 3,631,236 votes, while Atta Mills of the NDC had 2,750,124 votes, representing 43.1% of the vote. Ghana had experienced a change of power from the NPP to the NDC, something that was very significant in the history of the country. This was the beginning of democracy in the country. In 2004, President Kufuor had exhausted the first term of his office, and he returned to the people to give him a second mandate. This time around, the NDC stood with Professor John Mills as his flag bearer for the 2004 general elections. The elections were held on the 7th of December 2004. The results are as follows. President John Kufuor had 4,524,074 votes, representing 52.45% of the vote, while Atta Mills of the NDC trailed with 3,850,638 votes, which was 44.64% of the vote. All the others together had a total sum of 251,343, which was 2.92% of the votes. There was a total of 10 million voters, and the turnout was 85.12%. President John Kufuor had won a second term for the NPP. By 2008, Professor John Mills was trying his third attempt to become the president of Ghana. He was running on the ticket of the NDC, which was threatened with disintegration if they failed to win the 2008 election. Meanwhile, the NPP had selected Nana Akufo-Addo to succeed John Kufuor as the leader of the New Patriotic Party. The NPP were running on the back of a good economic performance as well as great records in terms of providing free basic education for children. The NPP were very confident going into the election because they were united, while the NDC saw this election as a do-or-die affair. This election ended up being the closest in the history of Ghana, with a winner only being declared after 3 rounds of voting. If I say 3 rounds, I mean we have the first round on the 7th of December 2008, the second round on the 28th of December 2008, and then the 10th constituency election on the 3rd of January 2009. That is only when we found out that Professor John Atta Mills had won the election. In 2012, Professor John Atta Mills had passed away while in office as Ghana's president. The National Democratic Congress (NDC) nominated John Dramani Mahama, who was his vice president, to become the flag bearer of the NDC. The NPP stood with Nana Akufo-Addo as the running mates. Dr. Baumia joined to complete the ticket for the NPP. The 2012 elections was held on the 7th of December 2012. John Mahama's biggest test was to retain power for the NDC. John Dramani Mahama had over 5.5 million votes, representing 50.70% of the votes, while Nana Akufo-Addo had over 5.2 million votes, which was 47.70%. The others had 171,603 votes, representing just under 2% of the total valid vote cast. John Dramani Mahama had won the election on his first attempt, and he retained power for the NDC. He became the 6th elected leader in the history of Ghana and the 4th in the history of the 4th Republic. In 2016, the NDC were seeking a 3rd straight term in office, while John Mahama was looking to complete his 2nd term in office. Nana Akufo-Addo was also aiming to become the 2nd president from the New Patriotic Party. 2016 was a landmark year as we saw the first female presidential candidate and the first person living with disability to also contest for president. The female presidential candidate was Nana Kunedu Achimon-Rawlings, and the person living with disability was Ivor Greenstreet of the CPP. 2016 was the first time that we saw over 10 million voters cast their ballot, in the election. The NPP recorded their biggest history in Ghana's election. It was the first time that they had won power overwhelmingly over the NDC, and the NDC's biggest defeat in its history. Nana Akufo-Addo became the 7th president of the Republic of Ghana. In 2020, a global pandemic hit, and the economy of the country as well as the rest of the world was badly battered by the uncertainties. Nana Akufo-Addo was seeking a second term in office, while John Mahama was aiming a comeback into power. Now, the dissatisfaction with local government issues caused a historic shift in the history of Ghana's parliament, as for the first time we had a hung parliament. There was no outright majority, with both sides, NPP and NDC, on equal numbers and an independent candidate becoming the kingmaker. Eventually, the MP for Fomena sided with the New Patriotic Party to give them the slim majority they have in parliament. Nana Akufo-Addo of the NPP had over 6.7 million votes, representing 5.30%, while John Mahama of the NDC had 6.2 million votes, representing 47.36% of the vote. All the others together had 175,691 votes, representing 1.32% of the votes. Nana Akufo-Addo had achieved a second term in office, and John Mahama would have to wait for another year. Now, this has been an extensive review of Ghana's presidential elections from 1960 to 2020, a record of 60 years. And this time around, we are heading into the 2024 elections. Who will it be? Will it be Dr. Bawumia or John Dramani Mahama? We wait to see. Thank you very much for watching the 3rd episode of Ghana Votes 2024 on the Kente Business Journal. Please, and please again, hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell to stay updated to this channel. I am so grateful. My name is Ep.3, and I will see you in our next episode. It's bye for now.